Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our EAFC 25 RTG career mode here with Stoke City. We're back today with the Season 3 finale as we will play out the final 6 league games of the campaign. We're 8 points clear of Everton in 18th place, so I don't think we're going to be going down, and probably one more win will secure it. It's probably also unlikely that we're going to make a late push for the European places, and we'd probably have to win 4, maybe even 5 of our final 6 if we were to finish in 7th. But before jumping into any games today, we've got our final batch of scouting updates for this season. So let's see if anyone's making the academy. Well, we had a lot of players from England that we were scouting, but all of the potential seemed to have decreased. Unfortunately, this lad, Luke Underwood, has gone to Chelsea. He looked fantastic and would have been given a scholarship, but I am going to give one to this wide man, Reece Baxter. Well, I have to say, from Ecuador, we've got some absolute stars, and I'm going to give out a whole host of academy deals here. There's going to be 5 Ecuadorians making the cut, as they all look absolutely superb. And finally, from Tonga, there are going to be 2 scholarships. Tangaroa Latoa, great name. He's going to get a scholarship. And Kale Fatasini as well will also be signed up to the academy. As for the other 2 lads, they will be let go. But I've had to give out 2 pro deals to make some room in the academy. They have both gone to the backup keepers, or the youth academy keepers, Karim Stitkovic and Anis Hadzic. Because, to be honest, nobody's probably going to replace Bilal with how good he has been. But the academy is looking absolutely stacked. We've had a fantastic season with loads of young players joining the ranks, and I'm really looking forward to getting most of those lads out on loan and developing. But anyway, we'll jump into our first game of the episode. It is Brentford, the Bees, away from home at the G-Tech. They're just above us in the league, so again, if we want to make a final push for Europe, these are the sort of games that we have to be winning. Come on, the Potters. Well, it's not been a very good game here today at the G-Tech, and these games are going to be coming pretty thick and fast today as we play through the final 6. Not really a huge amount to play for. Oh, that's brilliant. Oscarson, oh, really should have scored. And that is by far the best chance of the game, as the Iceman is denied by Mark Flecken. But yeah, games are going to come thick and fast, so grab yourselves a cup of tea or a coffee and strap in for the final 6. Burmo, Kolo Muani, 1-0 Brentford. Those top 7 dreams are going out the window. Brentford been on a great run to close out the season, and they're going to pick up all 3 points here at the G-Tech as well. Well, can we find a late equaliser? Bay around the corner for Linton. There's Adam off the bench, and he does find a late equaliser. And Brentford aren't going to win it, and the draw specialists are going to claim another point in the Premier League. We love a draw, man. Well, some bad news here at full time, as the skipper has gone down with an injury, and he's going to have to come off as well. Bit of an innocuous challenge. It was more the landing, but that's going to do it at the G-Tech as it finishes 1 apiece. 2 late goals from Kolo Muani and then from Adam will rescue a point for Stoke City, but looks as if the skipper's going to miss the final 5 of the campaign. Well, as we get back to the menus, we see it's a broken metatarsal for Bay that will keep him out for 2 months. So he is going to miss the remainder of the campaign, which is expected. When he had to come off like that, we knew it was going to be a long-term one. But anyway, just heading into our next game, Nottingham Forest currently in 19th place, and looking as if they may be heading back down to the Championship. They massively need the 3 points here to have any hope of survival. And we are still trying to keep those slim European football dreams alive. Come on, the Potters. Yeah, 5 games left to play, and we've actually got quite a favourable run in the final 5. But whether we'll win all 5, considering we've not gone on a winning streak of more than, I think, 3 in the Premier League this season. I'd love to win all 5, but it's very, very unlikely. We might need to if we want to try and qualify for Europe. And Andy Moran, with his first league goal of the season here, opening the scoring and giving us the lead at the City ground. Shaqiri forward to Danjuma as the game just starting to open up a bit. Danjuma going on. Danjuma for two. Surely Danjuma seals the win. Come on, don't lose the clean sheet. Well, that's really frustrating. Terrible goal to give away. Mateta pulls one back for Forest, but it's going to be too little too late. Yeah, really frustrated to lose the clean sheet right at the death, but we will claim the victory nonetheless. 1 down, 4 to go, and I'd love to win all 4 of those to close out the season. They're all winnable games, and I feel like we can do it to keep those European football dreams alive. Well, just keeping the games rolling here as we jump into our next one. Ipswich Town coming to take us on at the Britannia. They've been on a fantastic run since Christmas to put themselves in a great position to stay up for the 3rd successive year in the Premier League. They're only a few points clear of the relegation zone though, so they'll probably need 1 or 2 more results to go their way between now and the end of the season. As for Stoke City, currently 5 points behind Manchester United, but with a game in hand, so still a very outside chance that we do qualify for Europe next season. Come on the Potters. Well, pretty terrible half of football again, and that's sort of been the story today. I think, you know, I used the phrase back in the day in my Southampton save, but we're on the beach here. We are on the beach as Million forces a save out of the keeper. We know we're probably not going to qualify for any form of European football, but we know we're not going down either. We are massively on the beach. As Diamonde slides that through for Oscarson, there's Moran. Still Moran. And Oscarson. Brilliant awareness by Moran. And the Iceman back on the score sheet. I think that's goal number 12 of the campaign, and he is by far our top scorer. Where would we be without this man? Moran forward for Vidigal. Been a particularly good game here. Vidigal flicks it for Moran. There's Adam for 2, and he drills it in. And the big man, whose goal per game ratio this season has been absolutely superb. Not featured much in the league, mainly off the bench, but he's still, I think, our 3rd or 4th top scorer in all competitions. The big man rounds off the victory for Stoke, and we make it 2 wins from 2 out of our final 5. Those European football dreams are not going anywhere. Well, probably the toughest of our final 5 coming up next as we welcome Brighton and Hove Albion to the Britannia. They knocked us out of the League Cup earlier on in the campaign, but they're not having the greatest of seasons. Currently sat in 15th, just 3 points above the relegation zone. Of course, we're still looking to keep those very slim European football dreams alive, so need to make sure we pick up another 3 points here. Come on the Potters. Well guys, it's been an absolutely shocking game here at the Britannia. Neither side really able to do any damage, but here goes Galbraith. There's barely been a shot all game, and Galbraith off the bench looks to have won it for Stoke City. It has been a shocker, and the subs link up. And the Northern Irishman looks to have won it for the Potters and keeps our European dreams alive. Well, jumping into our next game here as we take on the Blades away from home. They are all but relegated, barring an absolute miracle in the final 2 games. And they will be relegated here unless they beat us at Bramall Lane. But for Stoke City, is so tight. We move up into 8th place, 2 behind Manchester United, but ourselves, Arsenal and Brentford all level on 49 points heading into the final 2. Lots to play for. It's in United's hands. If they win their final 2, it won't matter, but still got to win our final 2, got to do our job and hope for slip-ups elsewhere. Come on the Potters. Oh no, what a chance. Oh my goodness. You know, we've done this a few times this season, conceding really early goals. And it's in the 4th minute here. The Blades know they have to win today to give themselves any chance of staying up. Oh, Brooks dispossessed. Terrible place to give the ball away. Galbraith. Across the box for Oscarson. And that's why the Blades find themselves rock bottom of the Premier League table. Terrible, terrible goal to give away. Matthew through the gap for Vidigal. Naughty tackle, Vinny Souza. That could be red, you know. That's an awful tackle by the Brazilian. What colour's the card? It's red. And I think he might have just condemned the Blades back down to the Championship. Well, 20 minutes to play here, and I can't believe we're still deadlocked at 1 apiece. I've just not been able to get the ball off the Blades and make it count. As McCallum finds O'Hare and Cordero shoots. Clearance only goes as far as McCallum. And now the Blades, who know they need to win, stepping onto us. McCallum, what a run. Cannon, big save, Bilal. Corner swung in. No, 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 no. What has happened there? Clark pulls his man down, but what on earth is he doing? Cannon gets the run on him. He has a tug. And the Blades, with 10 men, all of a sudden could find themselves 2-1 up as Bilal goes the right way, but can't get there. And it's Tom Cannon again. This lad always scores against me as the Blades go absolutely mad. And they've just given themselves a glimmer of hope here if they can hold on in the final 10 minutes. Well, I can't believe this, but as we're into stoppage time, that is going to do it. And the Blades keep their very, very slender survival hopes alive with a win that will crunch our European football dreams. Tom Cannon from the penalty spot wins it, but they played around 75 minutes with 10 men. I cannot believe that we've lost that, but the Blades are turning into a bit of a bogey team of ours. Well, guys, this has been one of the craziest Premier League seasons of all time. The Blades have given themselves a slim chance of staying up on the final day with that victory. Ipswich now looking over their shoulders and only outside of the relegation zone on goal difference. West Ham, Everton, Ipswich and Nottingham Forest all could go down on the final day. 2 of them will, but we're not too sure who it will be. As for ourselves, disappointingly, we've still got a chance, but that loss has really crushed our opportunity. Arsenal and Manchester United above us, but on the final day, Arsenal host Liverpool, who are now deadlocked in second, and Manchester United travel to Fulham, who are vying for Champions League football, but could still miss out if Chelsea and Spurs both win. So there is loads still to play for. It's been a cracking season, and we'll head into our final game here, knowing that a win could still potentially get us European football for next season. Come on, the Potters. They're underway here against our old rivals Leeds as well. What a team to face on the final day. And I've got goal alerts on, but I don't really trust them with how broken they are in FC. So we'll probably get some goal alerts, but not all of them. But anyway, corner for Leeds, headed away, and Shaqiri dispossessed, and oh my goodness, that could have gone anywhere. Oh, Phillips dispossessed, it's going to be 1. What a terrible goal to give away. And the loanee, he's been here for 3 years, but this will be his final appearance at the club this season before returning to his parent club, making a huge mistake. But we haven't really got going so far today. Corner goes short, dangerous ball, it's 2. A brilliant header by Fabio Silva, who, like Tom Cannon, just loves scoring against me. And we just have not started today. We knew European football was a bit of a pipe dream and we were massive underdogs for it, but got to at least do our job and give ourselves a chance. This has been a terrible performance. Oh wow, Nottingham Forest winning. Big goal down the bottom of the table. And I am quite invested in that relegation battle because it is really hotting up down there. And there might be a chance on the break here. Danjuma couldn't find Shaqiri. Thompson will slide it through to him. And Shaqiri finds Danjuma, surely to get a goal back. And there we go, 2-1, right on the stroke of half-time. Danjuma with another goal. Been a pretty solid first season for him, and we're back in the game. Linden through the gap for Danjuma. And Danjuma finds Lyndon Gooch on his final appearance. And it's 2 apiece, and we've got 20 minutes to find a winner to heap the pressure on Manchester United. We've no idea what the scoreline is in their game, but all we can do is do our job. Aronson, come on, we've just got back into the game. Don't throw it away now. Ramazani round the corner for Harrison. And tipped over the top by Bilal. Big save as he keeps us in the contest. Corner goes short. Gooch does well. Ampadu back into the middle. Henderson. Oh, it's Fabio Silva. And again, it's Bilal. And look at the reaction from the kid. This guy is so clutch at just 17 years of age. Well, unfortunately, guys, I don't think it's going to matter. Unless we can get the ball back and counter. It looks as if it's going to finish as a draw. And Bilal's heroics are going to come in vain. Yeah, Lee's doing a good job of just keeping hold of that ball and looking to win it. Fabio Silva, big block by Calvin Bassey. But that will do it at the Britannia. And the draw specialists, of course, close out the season with another draw. No European football for us, but it was a pipe dream. We never really expected to even be competing. My main objective this season was just to survive the drop in what has ended up being a really, really tightly contested season, especially down at the bottom. And we'll go and take a look at how the table ends up on the final day. Well, guys, time for our full season roundup here as we get back to the menus. And I'll start with this. We see that Xherdan Shaqiri suffered a broken toe in that game. With his contract expiring at the end of the season, it's likely he will head into retirement. I think he's now 34 or 35 years of age, and seems like a nice feat, even if he doesn't retire in the game. A nice sort of story to say that he ended his career here at Stoke. But as for the Premier League table, it was Manchester City on top, who went on a really good run in the second half of the season. Ended up pipping Arne Slot's Liverpool, who were runaway leaders at the start of the campaign. Spurs finished in third to lock up Champions League football, and Fulham, who had a fantastic campaign, losing on the final day, but managed to stay in fourth thanks to Chelsea losing at home to Everton. They themselves will head into the Europa League, and I believe it will be Manchester United heading into the Europa League or the Conference League. I'm not sure. Newcastle United in 7th. Arsenal ended up finishing in 8th after they lost to Liverpool on the final day. Brentford in 9th. And it was ourselves in 10th, ending up with 50 points in our first season in the Premier League. Only 8 defeats, but 20 draws and only 10 victories. We know where the problem lies. We need to turn some of those draws into victories. Heading into the bottom half of the table, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Southampton, Brighton and Leeds, all pretty clear of the bottom 3 in the end. Ipswich won on the final day in dramatic fashion to keep themselves up. Everton got the win at Chelsea as well to keep them up. And Forest's draw at Bournemouth does mean that they will be joining Sheffield United and West Ham heading back down to the Championship. The Blades won on the final day, which meant they did all they could in their final 2, but regardless will still be heading back down. But honestly, look at that bottom of the table, so tightly compacted, and I'll definitely be looking at the 3 teams that went down. They will definitely have some players that I would be interested in bringing in for next season. And as for the domestic cups, it was Chelsea who won the Carabao Cup earlier on in the season. So they would have been heading into the Conference League had they not finished in a Europa League spot this season. And as for the FA Cup, well, this makes things very interesting because Aston Villa win it, which means they will be heading into Europe next year. They finished in mid-table, so I honestly have no idea what that means for the European competitions next year, and I don't think EA do either because it seems to just be random every season. But what a win for Villa in the cup final. And as for the European competitions, well, there was no English sides in the quarter-finals or the semi-finals, of course. and it was Stade Rennais taking on Betis, but it was the Spaniards who have such a great record in those European competitions. Real Betis getting their hands on the Conference League trophy. Oh, and guys, this just makes things even more interesting. Europa League, you can see the quarterfinals there, some cracking ties, including Chelsea heading through 6-5 on aggregate against Lazio. They then beat Ajax in the semis and faced Inter Milan in the final, but Chelsea won it. So we'll be heading into the Champions League for next year, despite finishing in 5th. Honestly, I have no idea who is going to be playing in Europe next season. One thing's for sure, it won't be Stoke City, but honestly, I've lost track of who's going into which competition. Oh my goodness, guys. And it doesn't stop there either. In the Champions League, against some really cracking ties in the quarterfinals. In the final 4, Arsenal beat RB Leipzig and PSG beat Borussia Dortmund. And it was Arsenal who won the Champions League. So finished in 8th place, but win the Champions League. So we'll head back into the competition next year. Does that mean there's going to be 6 English teams in the Champions League next year? Well, a quick look at the individual player stats as well, as it's Heung-min Son winning the Golden Boot, 2 ahead of Alexander Isak. Cameron Archer had a great season, mainly with Southampton before moving to the Blades in January. Bit of a strange transfer. But we did see Ori Oskarsson finishing in 11th place in the goal scoring with 13 goals this season in what was a very, very prolific first campaign for the Iceman. And as for assists, it was Ollie Watkins at the top of the charts with 13, 3 clear of Jeremy Pino in second. Salah also had a great campaign with 8. And our top assister this year, Xherdan Shaqiri and Arnaut Danjuma, both with 6 assists in the Premier League. And we also saw Andy Moran into the top 25 with 5 assists as well. And as for clean sheets, we threw away a few really late clean sheets this season. And Bilal ends up finishing joint first on 13 with Unai Simon. They both played every single game in the Premier League, so we'll share the Golden Glove this campaign. And we will do our usual look around the leagues as we see Chelsea winning the WSL. In France, it was PSG once again winning the French league title. In Germany, it's back-to-back for Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen side. 7 clear of Bayern Munich in second with Dortmund in third. In Italy, I say it every year, it is a different winner. This year, Inter Milan 20 points clear as they are runaway champions. PSV 1 point clear of Feyenoord in second place, making it back-to-back Dutch league titles. But there was a different winner in Portugal as Sporting pipping Benfica to the title. For the Saudi Pro League, there was a runaway winner as Al Ahly, almost 20 points clear of last year's winners, Al Nassr in second place. And I know I've got a lot of Scottish fans. It's Rangers going back-to-back, and that might even be 3 in a row for this save. In Spain, it's always one of the big 3, and this year it's Real Madrid, back-to-back championships for them, 4 points clear of Barcelona and Atletico Madrid in third. And we'll do 2 more, starting with Turkey, as Besiktas couldn't defend their title with Fenerbahce back on top. And finally, to close out, we will take a look at the MLS. It's Inter Miami on top. No Lionel Messi anymore in this save, but still his old team on top in the early stages of the MLS. So that will do it for a look around the grounds. We'll go and have one final look through the squad hub and talk about our plans for next season. Well, I don't want to spend too long talking through the squad hub because we have got so many players in here at the moment, but a quick note on Bilal. What a season for the youngster. 18 years of age now, up to 72 overall, but he feels like he should be 92 overall. His stats are pretty well balanced, and he's just absolutely fantastic. The amount of times this guy bails me out is unbelievable. We've got Ennis coming back from his loan as he's up to 75 overall, and Stitkovic and Hadzic both heading out on loan in the summer. Great season for Jordan Boz, 2 goals and 1 assist down that left-hand side from the Aussie. And my main concern this season is that we may have some big bids for our key players after doing so well in the Premier League this season, as Harry Darling is likely to leave. But the new signings, the likes of Calvin Bassey and Jordan Boz as well, who was fantastic in our back line, I wouldn't be surprised if we do get some bids for these players, because they're making a name for themselves in the top flight. And once you do that, the big clubs often come calling. Lyndon Gooch, of course, scored on the final day to mount the comeback. We know he's joining Bristol City. And I've always got on with Lyndon, to be fair, when he has played. Harry Clark was okay. I didn't massively get on with him. He feels really slow in game, despite not being particularly slow. So I might potentially keep him for next year. I might potentially cash in. It depends how much money we've got to spend and who's on the market. Again, Issa Kabore, another player that there could be interest in the summer. Grown to 81 overall in his prime at the moment and had a really solid season. Joel Rigby looking really good out on loan. He's got another year at Norwich, as does Elliot Anderson at Preston. Henderson, I'm expecting, will probably retire. Diamonde was fantastic in the heart of that midfield. But honestly, in terms of where I'm going to look to improve next year, I've got a few players in mind that I'd like to bring in. I'm going to do some scouting of the players that went down, the relegated teams. There's Linton with no goals this season. Pretty disappointing campaign. But yeah, it depends on our budget as well. It depends how much money we get to spend. But yeah, Bay, the skipper, really good season for him. 7 goals and 3 assists in his first campaign in the top flight is pretty good going. Of course, went down with that injury at the end of the campaign, but he was really important for us, and good to see the skipper finally delivering. We got loads and loads of midfielders around this sort of low 70 overall mark. Of course, James Milner is retiring. Lewis Baker was given a new contract, and he'll have 1 year left. Jordan Thompson, another of those players, doesn't feature much, but a decent squad player to have, similar to Ifeanyi Matthew. I quite like Matthew, to be fair. Good player to bring off the bench with the really high energy that he's got. But eventually we'll look to phase all of these guys kind of out of the team. Again, Galbraith is a decent squad player to have. Actually had a really good season. 3 goals and 2 assists in very, very limited minutes. And yeah, can play a range of positions as well. I really like Ethan Galbraith. Sidibe's got another year out on loan. Mihaly, another of those players who could potentially be sniffed at in the summer. He's not really growing anymore, and with 2 years left on his contract, as I say, there may potentially be some interest in the summer. And I wouldn't be against selling him because he has stopped growing. And, you know, he was brilliant when we brought him in. Wasn't quite as influential this year, but still very, very solid and a bit of a fan favourite. As we know, Shaqiri, I'm kind of implementing the storyline that he will be retiring. He's technically not in the game, but at 35 with an injury, I think it's likely he will hang up the boots after 1 goal and 6 assists this season. Moran, again, not the greatest of seasons for Andy. Just the 1 goal which came late on in the season at the City Ground and 5 assists, but it's not terrible in his first year playing in the Premier League. I might potentially look to bring him back next season, but I don't want to fork out loads of money for him, and that market valuation is kind of putting me off. So again, we'll sort of assess in the summer. As for Million, again, not the greatest of seasons in terms of goal returns, just 3 goals and 2 assists in all competitions. But yeah, I love Million down that right-hand side. He's a great option cutting in on that flank, and I am worried again that he might be one of the players that we see some bids for in the summer. A lot of the lads out on loan are doing really well. Clemens Walner up to 75 overall. Might potentially have a place in the squad next season because he is due to come back alongside Clemens Fink. I guess we will have to see. Nicholas Baumgartner not really growing as much as some of the other guys. Might look to cash in on him, as he did feature a little bit in the first season, but just 1 year left on his deal. I think it's likely he will be sold as we've got better players coming through. Taiwo, again, didn't feature a huge amount, coming in on loan from Nottingham Forest. Just 1 goal and 1 assist. Probably won't come back to the club at 29 years of age. But I did need a backup striker for Oskarsson, and that is a position that I'm looking to recruit in next summer. As for Danjuma, good season for him, returning to the Premier League. 5 goals and 6 assists in 24 Premier League appearances. Mainly played from the left-hand side or occasionally in behind the striker, but as I say, a really, really good season for a man that we brought in on the cheap in the summer. Of course, into his 30s now, but actually grown a rating to 78 overall. And he looked to be a really good pickup. The big man, you know I love him. He's only got 1 year left on his contract. I might give him another new deal in the summer because I do want to keep him here until he retires. And he's still banging in goals as well. 6 goals in all competitions in very, very limited minutes. 3 of those coming in the Cup and 3 coming in the Premier League. But honestly, he was more of an impact sub than Taiwo Awoniyi was. And he's only 69 overall. So it just tells you that the ratings don't always mean everything, because he's so good in game and he is Mr. Clutch as well. As for the main man, again, only signed in the summer, but I'm worried there might be some interest in him in the summer. 13 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League, and starting to make a bit of a name for himself in the top flight. The Iceman with a fantastic first campaign for Stoke. But again, I am worried that there might be some interest. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in the summer. Nathan Lowe, just 1 appearance in the Carabao Cup. I tried to loan him out in January, but didn't get any bids, so I will try and do so in the summer. And then we've got Jonas Kaufmann and Baumgartner, who are returning from loans in the summer, who will probably go out again. But yeah, Oskarsson, our main goal threat. Again, Bay had a really good season, and Adams' impact off the bench was fantastic. A lot of our players shared out the assists from those players kind of in behind the number 9. But yeah, in terms of recruitment for next season, we're going to need a new centre-back as Harry Darling is going to depart. Potentially a new midfielder and somebody to play in behind the number 9. Because I'm thinking I want to move Bay central. So maybe bringing someone in on that left-hand side. But we'll have to wait and see what the summer holds. I'm not too sure what is going to happen, how much money we're going to have, and what sort of bids we're going to receive for our key players. But we'll find out in the next episode, guys. And I'm really looking forward to kicking off Season 4 of the Save. We've flown through Season 3. And I'm hoping that next year we might be able to push a little bit further and try and qualify for some form of European football. But I'll catch you in the next episode for that summer transfer window, guys. Take care and peace.